Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. Guys, this is an interesting time to be alive. We've got a huge update to Grand Arena. It doesn't seem very big, but man, the implications are huge. It's gonna be hugely game changing. We're all in for a pretty big change. So, real quick, let's look at the text that they sent out the little blurb about this championship round. They're basically just saying, so we're gonna have the same number of zones and everything. Like always, we're doing 5v5, which is great. 5v5 is better than 3v3 at this stage, and probably forever now. But the ship zone in divisions 1 and 2 are going to have a second slot. So instead of like grinding through all your opponent's forces and everything, and then just like doing a token fleet attack, now we're gonna actually have to plan and like arrange our fleets in a way that is going to give us the most success, and it's going to be a very interesting thing. Frankly, I don't know entirely how I feel so far about it. I have a lot of thoughts about it, though. So let's actually cut to some ships battles that I've been practicing. I don't win all of them or anything, and a lot of them I just quit out of just because I'm just testing outside of my payout time window. So, don't get too frustrated with that. But let's do that, and then we can talk about some of these implications. All right, so let's talk about some of these implications, folks. The first thing we should probably mention is just how it makes us feel. We have to acknowledge that because there's going to be a lot of panic right now. I think that a lot of people are really frustrated. It's been well documented that I'm not the hugest fan of ships. There are some content creators who don't even show their ships in their GAC videos because they hate them so much that they haven't gotten good at them, and therefore they don't want to show everyone how atrocious their attempts are or something, and they're not interested in getting better, frankly. And I'm not pointing any fingers here. There are a few of them actually that I've seen, and I love at least a couple of them. So, anyways, I think though. So I don't like fleets, but here's the thing: I find myself strangely excited about this. I am excited because it adds to the strategy of it. Like before, it's like, okay, I'm gonna place one ship, I'm one fleet, and they're gonna beat me. I'm gonna beat their fleet, whatever they have, and that's gonna be it. Now it's like, how can I make sure that I set a tough defense in the back and challenge my opponents while at the same time kind of maintaining my own advantage and being able to full clear? Because that's going to be hugely relevant. Every once in a while we'll see a screenshot of someone who's like, I couldn't beat his fleet, and it's like, oh wow, well you must suck because most people can beat a fleet out after 6 attempts. Most people have enough fleets. This is Division 1 I'm talking about. Division 2 might be a little different. In Division 3, my alt actually held on fleets all the time because I had Negotiator and other people didn't. But I think that it's just an interesting conversation because now we have to figure out which fleets interact with what fleets in interesting ways. Finalizer can, according to some people at least, reliably beat the Negotiator fleets consistently, and I haven't seen someone be able to do it consistently in my arena, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. Similarly, I've been doing a lot of research. You guys can see in the background the video you're watching. I've been testing a lot today, all the different comps of Rebels versus Negotiator. I shouldn't say different comps of Rebels. I've been running the same comp, but I've been trying Negotiator, and I've been trying against Malevolence, and it turns out you can actually do it if you have a fast enough Biston. It's fascinating, and so the implications here in terms of just fleet and how everything is going to interact, we have a more nuanced Grand Arena, and I really, really appreciate that. I love that they did that. we've been talking about it forever. We've known this was going to happen, but the fact that we're doing it now, it's a little bit panicky, but I'm just trying to get my rebel fleet ready so that I can actually do some good attacks with them. Maybe put my negotiator on defense and put a little pressure on my opponent. So we will see about that. So another thing I did want to mention, guys, is we're going to be seeing a different level of people getting into Kyber. I don't know if they're going to change the thresholds or not, but the fact is we're going to be placing an extra fleet. We're going to be potentially beating another fleet. The zone itself is going to be worth more points. So we're going to have a higher point total. Like right now, the soft max for 5v5 with ships is 1937, and I don't know what the new max or soft max is going to be, but it's going to be significantly higher because one extra squad to deploy is in that like 90 in ships, something like that, and then beating the fleet itself is going to be another 66-ish, and then the zone itself is going to add another 30 or 32, something like that. So our scores are going to be way different, and the threshold to get into Kyber, if it doesn't change, we're going to see a lot more people getting into Kyber. Or they might just change it so that you have to get 10 wins to get into Kyber. They might make it perversely difficult. So we're going to see how that goes. I have no idea. I don't know how I feel about it, frankly, but it's going to be interesting, to say the least. So otherwise, guys, I did want to just talk for a little bit about the applicability now of like doing off-meta counters. Before, I was always like, man, it'd be cool to like run rebels in GAC and get rebels to win, get rebels to do a lot of cool stuff. Like they can do a lot of cool stuff, but the fact is, all you needed with only one zone, all you needed was negotiator or malevolence. That was it. That was all you needed. And so why should you work on rebels? Like it's fun. The idea of it's fun. Like why should you work on finalizer? That's also fun. I just don't know, guys. Like it seems crazy to me that that now, like, just out of nowhere, it used to be we had two relevant fleets. Every once in a while we'd see a rebel one, but for the most part we'd have negotiator, malevolence, some version of that. Usually people just mailed it in and traded fleets. They put malevolence on defense, negotiators destroyed each other, call it good. But now we're going to have to play something. So I know that some people have been talking about just placing two throwaway fleets in that zone, and I get that. I can understand why you would want to do that. The fact is, though, like there's no advantage to be gained by that. Like you have to hope that your opponent does the same. Like, throw in Holdo, throw in Mace or something random, and then you have all your good fleets. Then you can at least clear, right? Like that's the impression that people give. That's what a lot of people have said, and I think that is a little bit erroneous way of thinking. Not to step on people's toes here, but I say but, so it's like I'm going to, but I just think that we need to find more advantage than that. It's like saying if I just place a bunch of just worthless teams on defense on ground, and then I just get super efficient scores, it's going to be a winning strategy because I've kept all my offense. And that, frankly, that's what I used to do. Like that's how I used to play a lot. I played efficiency, tried to just like steal banners and stuff. And what I've discovered is having a really strong defense, at least at the later stages of endgame, like having a really strong defense, you can still full clear. I full cleared almost every match this last season. Like I had a very successful GAC season, and I had a ridiculous defense where I put both Galactic Legends down and Darth Revan and General Grievous and Padme, all really good squads. And so I think Fleet is going to be the same way. Like you can put garbage in, and your opponent is going to get like 67 banners each, and you have to pray that whatever they put in there is equally destructible. Like you have to pray that you get 67 and 67 using your negotiator versus their negotiator, or maybe you're going to do the cross mirror match, like negotiator versus malevolence or versus rebels or whatever. Like you'd have to pray that your opponent also puts garbage down. Otherwise, there is advantage to be gained if you want to work on a fleet that is going to be, maybe a little more challenging to use, a little more skill intensive. But if you can manage that on offense and then put the best teams on defense, yes, maybe they will get 66 or 67 against you. I don't know. That's beside the point. But you're putting pressure on them. If you can go in and beat their negotiator with a rebel fleet, then they don't have a negotiator to attack you with. If that's on defense, they have to beat your negotiator with a rebel fleet. So if you can do that, if you can manage to put pressure on your opponent and force them into a skill-based pressure point, so to speak, that's awesome. That's what you want. You want to make it so that their failure points are all over the place, and that's what the key to what I was missing in the having a weaker defense back when I used to do that and play efficiency play is you're not putting as much pressure on your opponent if you only do good attacks. Like, if you put up a high banner score, other people can put up a high banner score if you put the weak enough defenses down. That's not a problem. It doesn't matter what you place. It doesn't matter what they have on offense. Like, if you place a weak enough defense, anything can get most banners against you. And so with fleets, I would just say we should be competitive players in Grand Arena should be exploring other fleet options now. And I'm pretty new to this line of thinking. Like, I've been considering it in the back of my mind a lot. I've had this rebel fleet for a while. Like, I will say that Biston, once you get him up to 152 speed, I think that's the threshold, and that it's still pretty hard to get that U-wing up there. Frankly, you need. What do you need? You need gear 3 or gear 12 plus 3 and gear 12 plus 4 and fully maxed 6 E mods on both Xaereth, Rebel Pathfinder, and Biston. And so, you need a lot of gear on them. You don't need them relicked, though that does help more, as I understand it. But these clips that I'm showing you guys are actually, my Falcon is completely maxed because Chewie and Han are, they've been awesome for a while. But everything else, like Biggs is gear 13, and everything else is gear 12. So, and I'm beating these max teams with my ships. I don't have it down all the way. I'll make a video of it once I finally do. But the fact remains, I am consistently now, for the most part at least, when I'm not just testing things out and trying new things, I'm consistently beating these other fleets. Will I get great banners? Probably not. I don't know yet. But the fact remains, if I can beat these teams with a rebel fleet, or if I can put a rebel fleet on defense and just have it destroy my opponent, and then I can keep negotiator or something, that's going to apply pressure. And that's really what you need to do. As many failure points as possible for your opponent. And now fleet is actually a place that people can fail. I think that it was getting to the point where people were starting to put more negotiators down, and I was starting to scramble. I've been practicing a lot of my negotiator mirror matches and stuff lately as well, just to get better at that, but things have changed in a big way. We're going to be responsible for knowing what the hell negotiator even does. All of it's just random stuff. It's I think it dazes people, and we assist sometimes. So most people know what negotiator does. How many people know what the Radis even does? How many people know what Resistance X-Wing does? We're going to have to learn all of that stuff. I've talked to the fleet server guys, and a lot of them think that the Radis is actually better than the Finalizer. It's who knew? I didn't. The fleet server guys do because they like ships. But we're going to need to be exploring all these things. And so I will submit to you guys, I think that the best teams available right now for what we're for what we're trying to do, and this is just based off of just some basic research. I think that the ones that are going to be the most consistent in terms of countering are the two fleets that are in GET2 range. Like you have to buy Negotiator and Malevolence. That should be pretty obvious. Like they're both pretty good on defense and really great on offense, obviously. And then over on the fleet server, they say that this Rebel fleet, it doesn't take too much investment. Yes, you need a good Biston. You don't really even need a Y-wing. Apparently, they don't they don't hold to the Y-wing madness. Apparently, like they haven't used it to that large degree. We'll find out in the future. But as it stands, like they think Rebels are going to be good, and then Empire with the TIE Bomber lineup, it requires a lot of investment, though, guys. Frankly, I think the Empire fleet, like it can go toe to toe. If you have a max Empire fleet, it will consistently beat any fleet out there, no doubt. But that means you need to get Gar Saxon and Imperial Super Commando up to like relic levels, which we don't even have a reason to do that yet. Sith Eternal Palpatine or whatever his name is, he doesn't even require it. So, they're really bad, gross gears, but that's a key piece in the Empire fleet. You need TIE Fighter pilot with relics. You need the Imperial shuttle, the Emperor shuttle, whatever, with relics. So you need all these things with relics. Tarkin's going to have relics anyways, but it's going to be a good fleet. It's going to be a thing. So I would suggest then, and I've seen a lot of people say like they're going to be dusting off their finalizer fleets, and I think that that's probably the best option. I think Radis, maybe it is the best. I don't really know. We're going to all explore this together, but as it stands, I think that the finalizer is more intuitive, at least. And you got to do what makes sense, right? You got to do what you can to be able to win. And so whatever makes sense. I guess to sign off, guys, I don't want to just belabor this point. I think that it's going to make things more interesting. I think that people who pay attention to kits are going to get some kind of advantage for sure. If you read the ship kits, I'm going to have to do that. I've been pretty guilty of not knowing what all the ships do. I just point and click. I'm going to have to improve, though. This is going to be an area, guys. It's going to be a vital place, frankly, to be in trying to learn these ships. These first couple seasons with double ships, the people who study the kits and who are prepared and have a plan are going to be the guys who succeed. Like, that's going to be a huge failure point for a lot of veteran players because they don't want to learn ships and their interactions. And if we can get ahead of that and learn all of it, then it's going to do us a lot of good. So I will be putting out a video eventually, once I finally get down all the strategy, on using this Rebel fleet. In the meantime, start working on Biston and Xaereth Rebel Pathfinder, because that ship is vital to any Rebel fleet. You need them gear 12, halfway to gear 13 at least. So I'm excited to be working on that again. Some of our content is going to be with ships now, and I don't know why, but I'm excited. So anyways, folks, I am going to let you go. Thank you all so much for listening to me. Let me know what you think of this change. If you hate ships, if you love ships, if you think I'm delusional, I would love to hear it in the comments. Be respectful, but I would love to hear what you have to say. So thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.